You need to trust God in your pain. Being a friend of God means that when hard times come, you turn towards God and not away from Him. John 16:33, He says, I've told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I've overcome the world. And here's what I take from that. Part of being a friend of Jesus means that when the trouble hits, and remember, Jesus says it's going to, right? He doesn't say if it hits or maybe it'll happen. He certainly doesn't say, well, because you belong to me, trouble's never going to come your way. No, He says in this world you'll have trouble, but when the trouble hits, part of being a friend of Jesus means that we can trust Him in the midst of it. He's bigger than any trouble we might encounter because He's overcome. I watched a really good sermon by Pastor Rick Warren this week on developing your friendship with God. And he said something I thought was really insightful. He said that the difference between an acquaintance and a friend is talk and trust. He said that you talk with your acquaintances, but you trust your friends. He said if you don't trust somebody, then they're not your friend. You might spend 8 hours a day with them, 7 days a week, but if you don't trust them, then they're not a friend. They're just an acquaintance. He says the bedrock of every friendship is trust, and that's true with God too. So you've got to trust Him. You got to trust Him when things don't make sense, and when things are going backwards, and when things are going sideways, and when you think, I'm going under, I might be going under for the very last time. You need to trust Him. In fact, it's probably not a stretch to say that one of God's purposes in what's going on right now is to draw people closer to Him. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not into looking for silver linings. I'm not saying that God's allowing all of this because He wants people to pay a little more attention to Him. I've told you before, I'm not really into trying to figure out God's grand plan in every little thing that happens, or even every big thing that happens. But it's not a stretch to say that one of the mysterious sovereign works of God is to allow pain in our lives to spur us to rely more on Him. C.S. Lewis used to say, pain is God's megaphone. Rick Warren said, pain fuels passion. That is, when you go through pain, when you're in the middle of trouble, your prayers will change. You know, you're not going to pray, Our Father who art in heaven. You're not going to pray like that anymore. Instead, your prayer becomes, help me. Help me, Lord. Lord, I need you now. The more honest to God you are, the deeper your friendship will be, because God can handle your concerns. We can be gut honest with God. So if you're going to come through this trial that we're all in, whether it's the stir craziness you're feeling from being trapped at home, whether it's the frustrations of trying to homeschool when you just don't feel equipped to do that sort of thing, if it's concerns about how you're going to make ends meet because you don't have your job or business is slowed way down, if it's worries about getting sick, if it's because someone you really care about, you can't even see them right now. Whatever it is, if we're going to make it through this trial that we're all in the middle of right now, then we're going to have to trust God. We're going to have to deepen our friendship with Him. We're going to have to go from Him just being someone we talk to someone we rely on. Take your burdens to Him. Take your concerns to Him.